Good evening, everybody, and welcome to tonight's training on consumer scams for individuals with disabilities. My name is Tiffany Ziegler, and I'm the Training and Compliance Specialist here at the Medina County Board of Developmental Disabilities. Also joining me tonight is our presenter, Danielle Murphy, with the Ohio Attorney General's Office. Before we get started tonight, I want you to know that you are able to ask questions throughout the presentation in the comment box, which might be either to the right of your presentation screen or maybe below it. We will answer all the questions prior to the conclusion of tonight's training. Tonight's training is being recorded and can be found on our YouTube channel or shared out for anybody that you think might benefit from the information shared. We also will send a survey following tonight's presentation along with the presentation that is shown tonight. So without further delay, I'm going to turn the presentation over to Danielle.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for having me tonight. Tonight I am going to talk about consumer scams, but before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and just stop sharing my video so you can concentrate on the PowerPoint presentation, and then I will definitely come back afterwards to be able to answer the questions. So let's go ahead and get started. So let me just tell you a little bit about our office in case you're not familiar. Attorney General Dave Yost is our 51st Attorney General. And some of the duties of our office is that he is the attorney for the state of Ohio. Now, that doesn't mean you can call him for personal representation to dispute a speeding violation, right? What it means is he represents all state elected officials, including the governor's office, the secretary of state's office, and the treasurer of state's office. Our office also supports local law enforcement, and we do this in a couple different ways. We have the Police Officers Training Academy, which is in London, Ohio, and there officers across the state get the training that they need to make sure Ohio citizens are safe. They have a gun range and a high-speed track and many other classes to make sure those officers are up to date and current. We also support local law enforcement through our Bureau of Criminal Investigation Office, or BCI. So I'm sure many of you listening tonight like to watch those crime scene shows like NCIS or CSI. Well, that's what BCI does. We solve crimes and homicides through DNA analysis and fingerprint analysis. However, it does take our office longer than that hour to solve those crimes. Our office also enforces certain laws that are passed by the General Assembly, and those laws include environmental protections, charitable organizations, and consumer protections. And I'm here tonight from the Consumer Protection section of the office. We want to ensure a safe marketplace for consumers, so we enforce laws related to buying a used car, seeing a store advertisement, and shopping online. So scammers use a variety of tactics to try to get to everybody. I'm going to tell you a few red flags and some common tactics that these scammers use that you need to watch out for. And the first one we see often is if somebody requests you to wire transfer money, to buy a prepaid money card, or to purchase a gift card, more than likely that is a scam. What we're seeing more currently is iTunes gift cards, and those are the types of gift cards that we're seeing that these scammers are requesting for payment. If you get a request for any personal information whatsoever, you should never have to give out your personal information over the phone or over scams, right? Maybe you get a phone call and they claim that, you're behind on your taxes, and if you don't pay immediately, they're going to come and arrest you. Or maybe they say they're from the Social Security office and you're not going to get your money or your benefits. These are all the tactics that scare us into giving information that we shouldn't give. Another tactic is to keep the conversation a secret. A lot of these scammers don't want you talking to your parents or a caregiver or a family member or friend. about what's going on. We see this in the romance and sweetheart scams many times, where you've developed a relationship maybe with someone online and they don't want you to tell anybody about the relationship. Also, we see different types of scams like phishing and spoofing. Like I said, never give out your personal information. Phishing scams are just people, individuals trying to fish out as much information as they possibly can. And I'm going to show you a quick video clip of what that looks like.
Coming.
Good afternoon, Mr. Thomas. I'm from your credit card company. We suspect several unauthorized transactions on your card.
Really? My credit card company?
Yes, and we care about your security, so we make house calls. Good news is you give me your social security number, and we'll take care of you.
Is that all you need?
Not quite. We also need your PIN number. I forgot.
What's that on your back?
Nothing?
Oh, I get it. You're fishing for my personal information, right?
No.
So you can steal my identity, right?
No.
Then how come you have a fin sticking out of your back? Honey, get my tackle box and rod.
OnGuardOnline.gov has tips to help you guard against internet fraud, to secure your computer, and
So that's what we see with phishing scams. The other thing and tactic that these scammers use is a tool called spoofing. And what these scammers do is they go online and they download an app, and what they can do is they can put any phone number and any business to appear on your caller ID. So what I'm always telling people is don't trust your caller ID. Maybe it might come up and say it's the Social Security office and have a zip code that's similar to yours. An area code that's similar to yours, and the next 3 numbers of your phone number are similar to yours. They're just spoofing the number to make it look like it's coming from a local office. So never trust your caller ID. Now let's talk about some of the scams we're seeing right here in Ohio. And the first one is the imposter scam. What we tell people, again, don't provide any personal information. And always look up the legitimate number before calling back the organization or whoever they're claiming to be. What we would see in the imposter scam would be maybe, like I said before, they're claiming to be the IRS saying you owe back taxes. Well, this imposter scam has changed over the years, and now what we're seeing more often is where they might claim to be the Social Security office. They claim that your Social Security number has either expired or that something went wrong with your Social Security number. You're not going to get your benefits. You need to give them that information right away. And they spoof the numbers and they spoof the caller ID to make it seem like it is that organization. So, like I said, if you get a phone call and you think that it could be legitimate, always look up the number. Do not use the number that comes up on your caller ID. I have another short video clip to give you an example of this scam.
Scam artists are pretending to be IRS officials to get your money. They'll call, email, or text you, claiming you owe back taxes or there's a problem with your tax return. They even rig caller ID to make the call look official. They play on your fears. They threaten to take your driver's license or sue, arrest, or deport you. They want you to pay fast. What's the truth? The truth is the IRS's first contact with you will always be a letter in the mail. It's not a phone call, email, or text message. They won't insist that you pay it with a prepaid debit card, a wire transfer, or cashier's check. Now you know. Has an IRS imposter contacted you? Report it at ftc.gov/imposters.
Another scam that we're seeing in Ohio is the fake check scam. And what I usually tell my groups that I'm talking to is, if it sounds too good to be true, then it more than likely is. If you get a check in the mail that you're not expecting or that just doesn't look like it's something that you were anticipating receiving, more than likely it is a scam. And this has happened to me and my husband many times, where just out of the blue, there's a check that appears. And typically how this type of scam works is they want you to deposit it into your own account. And then there's taxes and fees, or some kind of fund or reason that they need you to send a portion back to them. And that's how they get their money. And then before the check can get processed, then it's no good and bounces. So always, if it sounds too good to be true, then it is. Another scam is the prizes and sweepstakes scam. And again, we're all driven by gifts and prizes and money. Again, you think that you've won this sweepstakes. They say you're going to win all these great prizes. And I don't know if you can see on the screen here, but there's a lot of good gifts here. A computer with a surround sound and free internet. So these are very high priced prizes. So then what they claim is that you have to pay the fees and taxes to actually receive the gift. The other thing that I want to tell you is, if you didn't enter something, how can you win something, right? A lot of us, are trying to win a few bucks here and there with scratch off or playing the lottery. And many times we don't win, and many times we enter. So just be aware of whether you actually have entered something or not. So the romance and sweetheart scam, as I said before, they use the tactics to, especially right now during the coronavirus, many people are shut in their homes. We're lonely. We want to see family members. We want to see friends. And so right now you may see where somebody reaches out to you to try to gain your friendship or relationship. You want to make sure you're talking to your friends and family about anyone that you meet online, whether they tell you to keep it a secret or not. And the difference between somebody legitimately wanting to be your friend online is that they're going to ask for money fairly quickly into your relationship. And how this will usually work is they'll say, well, they wanted to come and visit you, but they can't because their car's broken down. They need money in order to get it repaired to come and visit. Or maybe they claim that they have a sick family member and they're caring for them. And if only they could get the medication or the attention that they need medically, then they could come and see you. So just be aware of these tactics. You just want to be careful. Like I said, we're all lonely right now. We're hoping to get out of our houses as the weather's changing, but just be aware that these scammers are going to be preying on all of us. And I have another video clip to show you what this scam looks like, and from what the things that I had just told you.
Looking for love in all the right places? Like popular dating sites, mobile apps, and social networking sites? Ron seems like a perfect match for you. He's thoughtful and says he can't live without you. He says he's from the US but works out of the country. He says he wants to visit but says he can't afford it. He asks you to send him money. Last month it was medical bills for his sick aunt. This month he needs money to fix his car. Next month, who knows? Ron wants your money. Don't send it. The person pretending to be Ron is a scammer. He'll tell you anything to get you to wire cash right away. He'll never run out of excuses. If an online love interest asks you for money, walk away, no matter how compelling the story. Report scams at ftc.gov/imposters.
Another scam is the computer repair scam. And we saw that people and individuals in Ohio were getting phone calls from someone claiming to be from Microsoft. They would say that, you have a virus on your computer, give me access to your computer immediately and I can fix all of the issues. Never give anybody remote control access to your computer. The other thing you want to remember is nobody can tell that you have a virus on your computer by just calling you, or I can't even tell unless I actually have access to that computer. So nobody can know this. Another way that this scam can appear is through a pop-up on your computer. Maybe you're working on your computer and you're, researching some stuff online, or maybe shopping, and you get a pop-up that says, warning, you have a virus, click here immediately. I always tell individuals not to click on that pop-up or that link. If for some reason you suspect that there could be a problem, you would want to go to your own antivirus protection that you have on your computer when you're done working on the computer, and run it manually. Let's talk about some other scams.
Scammers pose as big name companies. They call or send pop-up messages to scare you about the security of your computer.
We've gotten warnings of viruses in your area. Your computer has been affected. First, download this software so I can delete the dangerous programs.
They're good at pretending to be someone they're not because they want something that isn't theirs, your money. No matter what they say, they haven't found anything wrong with your machine. They just want you to pay for software or tech support services you don't need. If someone pressures you, slow down and think it through. Don't give out your financial information, and don't let anyone take control of your computer. Report imposter scams to ftc.gov/imposters.
So now on to some other common scams, job opportunity scams. Some scammers ask job seekers to pay high fees for information. Maybe they say that you have to pay for some training session or promotional materials, and that they just turn out to be useless. The jobs are either non-existent or very low paying. If the job opportunity sounds too good to be true, as I said before, it probably is. Consider applying for jobs directly through the company's website to ensure the posting is legitimate. And I also want to take some time to talk about social media scams. Again, currently in the state of the coronavirus and people being at home and shut in, I know I'm on social media more often, reaching out to people, and I've noticed I've gotten quite a few more friend requests on social media. I would say that you would want to be very cautious about who you accept as your friend on, those different platforms. If you don't know someone, you really should not accept their friend request. Oftentimes, and sometimes what happens is one of your legitimate friends gets hacked, and they steal their profile picture and they send a new friend request. So what you always want to do before accepting any friend requests is go to your friends list and see if you're already friends with that person. The other thing that you would want to do on your social media sites is make sure that your settings are set so only the people that you have accepted as your friend can see what you're posting, because that's when you can get into trouble, or people, scammers can figure out passwords from pets' names or birthdays. So we really have to be careful on social media about the friends that we accept, what our settings are set on, and who's requesting to be our friend. So let me just turn a little bit of the page and talk about identity theft just a little bit. And identity theft occurs when someone obtains and uses your personal information without your permission to commit fraud. So what are some warning signs that we should look out for? How can we know that maybe our identity has been taken? And the first thing would be unauthorized charges on your bank statements or your credit card statements. So important to look at these statements and know that the charges that are on there are truly yours. This happened to my husband and I about 4 months ago. We were looking over our credit card statement, and there were charges to Uber, and then there were also charges to an international charge. So they were saying that we were using Uber and we were overseas, which, as I've been saying through this whole night, that I haven't gone anywhere. Nobody's going anywhere. I'm definitely not using Uber, right? But those charges added up to be over about $200. So if we hadn't have seen that on our credit card statement, we wouldn't have been able to call the company and dispute the charges. So make sure you're looking at your credit card and debit card information. Maybe you start getting phone calls from debt collectors telling you that you better pay the debts back and you aren't aware of any debts. This would be another red flag that something's going on. Maybe you receive unfamiliar bills or you no longer receive mail. It's so important to know when your bills are coming in the mail and when they're due. If for some reason you don't get your credit card statement the middle of the month, it is not a gift to you from the credit card company, right? You still owe those charges that you put on that card. But sometimes there are people that want to get that credit card statement, right? Because think about it, what is on there? Your name, your address, and an account number. And that's really all somebody needs to say that you lost your card and you want a new card issued to you. And then they just say that you're in the process of moving and you want it sent to another address. So just be aware of that. And errors on your credit report.
Identity theft happens. It's an unfortunate fact of modern life. But there are certain steps you can take to help keep your personal information from falling into the wrong hands. Every day you do things to protect what's most important to you. And you know what? You do them almost automatically. Routine things like looking both ways before you cross, brushing your teeth, and buckling your seatbelt. Another routine to get into is keeping tabs on your identity and personal information. Here are 5 easy ways you can do it. Read your credit card and bank statements carefully and often. Know your payment due dates. If a bill doesn't show up when you expect it, look into it. Read the statements from your health insurance plan. Make sure the claims paid match the care you got. Shred any documents with personal and financial information. Review each of your 3 credit reports at least once a year. It's easy and it's free. And before you know it, protecting your personal information can be as routine as locking your doors at night. For more tips and tools on dealing with identity theft, visit ftc.gov/ID theft. That's ftc.gov/ID theft.
I do want to say that because of the coronavirus, they have extended and issued that you can run your credit reports weekly through the 3 credit reporting agencies till April of 2022. And those agencies are Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. So it's not yearly any longer, it's weekly that you can run your credit report. So how do you reduce your risk of identity theft? How do we protect ourselves from becoming a victim? Don't volunteer your personal information to anyone. Make sure you're shredding documents that have any personal information on them, such as your name, address, and definitely account numbers. Monitor those financial statements. You also want to monitor whether there's small amounts on there that you're not aware of. For instance, maybe you see a charge and it doesn't really give in the description what it's for, and it's maybe only for 50 cents. Well, you don't want to take the time to research why you've been charged this 50 cents. Well, what could happen is if somebody has gotten your credit card or your debit card information, they could have charged these small amounts and you might see it appear multiple times to see if it's going to go through. Once those charges go through a few times, that's when they may do a larger purchase and you'll get hit with a larger sum of money on your statement. So just make sure you're monitoring that as well. Create a mail schedule. Like I said before, know when your bills are coming. And if you're still writing checks or putting an account number on the check or mailing something, make sure you take that sensitive mail and put it in a locked mailbox like the U.S. Postal Service. Don't carry extra personal information. Definitely don't carry that Social Security card on you or in your wallet. You want to try to memorize it. And if for some reason you need it and you can't memorize it, then only take it for that day. Otherwise, you want to keep that in your a locked place in a secure place at home. A few online safety tips. Beware of unknown attachments, downloads, and pop-ups. Like I said, you want to be careful just clicking on any pop-up that comes up on your computer. Also, any attachments. Maybe you've received an email and it has a link there, or it has an attachment. I know I've been getting quite a few things through my email that looks like I've won some gift card from Kohl's, or some kind of something that does kind of look like it's coming from that company, and I know it's not. And so I want to delete that and not open that. Make sure to install and update antivirus and anti-spyware programs on your computer. What this does is it goes and it kind of cleans up the inside of your computer from these viruses that get in there. Watch for scam websites and emails. I know that I like to utilize Google a lot if I don't know something, and a lot of times it's harmless, but you want to be careful because, as I said, you can run your credit report. Well, if you forget where I tell you to go to run your credit report, like Experian, TransUnion, or Equifax, and you happen to Google free credit report, the first ones that come up are more than likely going to be scam websites, and they're going to ask for a credit card or a bank card for a processing fee, and then you're going to be charged monthly. So be aware that sometimes these scammers use websites as the first ones that come up. Use secure websites. And all that means is in the URL, if you look at the picture, which with the HTTP, there's an S after that. That means it's a secure website. Or maybe the entire area is green, or maybe there's a picture of a padlock in that browser or the URL. Beware when using free and public Wi-Fi. So for instance, maybe you decide to go get a cup of coffee at McDonald's, and while you're sitting there drinking your coffee, you want to use their Wi-Fi because you don't have a whole lot. You want to save your own. So you put the information in, you start shopping, you find a pair of shoes. You would never want to put any kind of credit card information or look up any banking information on those free unprotected Wi-Fi where you don't have a password to get in. Make sure to choose hard to guess passwords and reset questions. So we suggest using usually the first letter of a phrase with numbers and symbols, making sure that it's at least 8 to 12 characters in length. And those reset questions are nice because once you do log into the site, then they're going to send you a code typically, or a pop-up of a question that you've already decided what the answer is. So let's go ahead and wrap up the presentation, and we'll have plenty of time for questions after. You want to always be skeptical. As I said before, if it sounds too good to be true, then more than likely it is. Make sure you're researching businesses and charities before actually doing business with a business or giving money to a charity. And you can do this in a couple different ways. You can call our office or go to our website and ask for the complaints on any company. You can also go to our website, and we regulate all charitable organizations. And so you can put the name of the charity in our website and it'll tell you if it's a legitimate charity or not. You can also use the Better Business Bureau's website. They rate every business with an A through F rating, like in a grade card. And then they also list all of the complaints, and they categorize those complaints so we know exactly what the complaint was for. Beware of those strangers who seek personal connections. Like I said, more than likely, if they are a scammer or they're not a legitimate friend, they're going to ask for money fairly soon after the connection. Keep your personal information as private as possible. You want to never send money via suspicious methods, and those methods are the wire transfers, the prepaid money cards, or the gift cards. Never give out your personal information. Never carry unnecessary personal information. Never pay to win a prize. Never allow strangers remote control access to your computer. And never pay the full amount up front. If somebody's coming to do work in your home, you would not want to give a large sum of money up front before the work has actually started or before the work has been completed. You can go to ohioprotects.org to file a complaint with our office. Our office offers an informal dispute resolution process. If you have a complaint against a business, you can call our office and a complaint specialist will work with you and that business to try to resolve the issue. It's a free service and not a legal service. We also have an identity theft unit in our office. So if for some reason, maybe you got caught up in an identity theft, we will work with the debt collectors and the credit reporting agencies on your behalf to try to resolve that issue for you. The one thing that I did want to point out to you is if you are not sure about those antivirus or anti-spyware programs that I was talking about to clean your computer, you can go to staysafeonline.org. It's down at the bottom left corner, National Cybersecurity Alliance. And that's where you can go to research what kind of antivirus and anti-spyware programs you could have on your computer. And again, you can contact our office by calling 800-282-0515. And I'm going to turn the program back over and then we'll take any questions that you have.
Thanks, Danielle. I don't see any questions in the chat box at the time being, but as I wrap up here, we'll see if there's anything that comes through.
Okay.
In the future, moving forward, we do have a restrictive measures training coming up on Wednesday, April 14th, and that's at 2 p.m. You can register for that training by going to our website. We also do have a mental health first aid training opportunity on a few different dates, Tuesday, April 20th, Thursday, April 22nd, or Friday, April 30th. And those are separate trainings. You would only have to register for one of them. As you can see, they are about a 6-hour training. So you could pick the date that worked best for you to be able to attend that training. So those are some of our upcoming trainings. I don't see any questions coming through, but Danielle provided a lot of great resources. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to the different links that she's provided or her office as well. So without further delay, I'm going to end tonight's presentation.